No, the game is afoot. Not a word. Into your clothes and come. I'll wait for you in the sitting room. I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified.
어제처럼 비가 오는 날이네.
I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
Yes, they all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
맨날 이 여자밖에 없어.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
책상?
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. A wax seal with the monogram E.B. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
경감의 편지, 켄트주 마르샴, 애비 그레인저 저택, 오전 3시 30분. 신의한 홈즈씨, 흥미로운 사건이 발생했으니 이리로 와서 도와주셨으면 합니다. 홈즈씨의 취향과 딱 맞는 사건입니다. 브래큰스톨 부인은 풀어드린 다음 현장을 그대로 보존하는 중입니다. 하지만 서둘러 주십시오. 유스터스 경을 이 상태로 내버려두기 힘든 노릇이니까요. 이만 줄이겠습니다. 레스트레이드 경감.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always, it appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the EB monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
애비 그레인지 저택.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after
난
all.
맨날 그 소리야.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you had best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid to raise her right.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Lady Brackenstall awaits you in the morning room.
Sir Warthen Brackenstall. Lord George Brackenstall. Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married
한
only
대
a
맞았네.
year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
인물 검사부터 새로 생긴 멍자국 헬쑥한 얼굴 그런 반지 오래된 멍자국 품위 있는 복장 둥근 브로치 우주 출신 지난밤에 무슨 일이 있었나요?
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and, oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
부속 맞은 물건 있나요?
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
불행했던 결혼생활
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
성질을 냈다. 오래된 멍자국
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Your
남편에 대한 인식이 많이 안 좋네. 하긴 맞는데
Oh, what a horrible thing.
Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir.
햇빛 오랜 노동 흔적 손수건 손속하녀 깊게 패인 주름살 지난밤
As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw three men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know. My mistress is very tired. Can't you allow her to her room?
알비 그림?
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame.
오, 금고가 있네.
This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
이거 좀 열어봐요. 뭐가 좀 있나? 돈 좀 될 만한 거 있나 보게. 금고.
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
어떻게든 열어봐야 한다.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
타임스. 가족범죄단의 기승부리다. 랜들 일가의 귀환. 약 2주 전 랜들 일가로 알려진 악명 높은 강도단이 시드넘 지역을 저택을 무단 침입하여 강도 행각을 벌였던 것으로 밝혀졌다. 경찰이 추적하던 중이지만 기밀 수사인 관계로 피해자의 이름은 파악할 수 없었다. 목격자가 3인방 모습을 정확하게 진술해준 덕분에 범행을 저지른 일당 신원을 파악할 기회가 생긴 것으로 보인다. 본 기자는 친애하는 독자들에게 극악무도한 강도단의 귀환을 알리고 현재 파악할 수 있는 모든 정보를 기고하기로 마음먹었다. 랜들 강도단은 수차례로 걸쳐 범죄를 일삼아왔으며 아버지와 두 아들로 구성되어 있다. 아들 잭 랜들은 40대로 희끗희끗 머리와 평균적인 신장과 체격을 지녔다. 강도단의 두목으로서 생김새가 극명하게 다른 두 아들을 부하로 삼고 있다. 맏아들 윌리엄 랜들은 키가 크고 건장한 체격이며 그에 걸맞지 않은 작은 머리가 특징이다. 둘째 아들 멜빈 랜들은 말라 비틀어졌다고 표현할 정도로 왜소한 체격을 지니고 있다. 용의자들은 다수의 강도 및 무단 침입 외에도 영국으로 귀환하는 선박을 무단 탈취했던 혐의로 수배 중이다. 독자들은 귀정품을 도난당하는 일이 없도록 주의 바란다.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
더 볼 게 없나 여기는? 딱히 더 없는 것 같다.
Lord Brigham Brackenstall.
The body is still in the dining room where the murder took place.
Baron Lyndon Brackenstall.
여기는 뭐지? 문이 좋아 보이는데?
The body is still in the dining room where the murder took place.
여기 아니라고 그냥. 박제.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
말로 자연식. 노끈 조각.
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. A fur trader's cabin.
시체를 한번 봅시다. 머리를 얻어맞았다고 했고.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow. That must be
직갱이.
the murder weapon.
장난로 많은 거잖아.
Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. It is
피가
covered
많이
in
묻었네.
blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
불행한 사고, 유스터스 경우 우연히도 3살 때 위로 넘어져 죽음을 맞이했다. 그냥 넘어질 일 없잖아.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there. A deer hunt. A hunting scene.
사냥을 좋아했네.
These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen. An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents.
이런 시계는 가져갔는데 비싼 촛대는 안 가져갔다. 포도주
A
하나
bottle of
가져갔네.
wine is missing here. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
이런 시계가 목적이었어?
This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me.
개로 추적?
The hunting scene.
오. 이런 쪽으로 도망갈 수도 있잖아. 창고 같은 건가? 못 가네. 일단 베이커 가로 가서 톱이 어딨어? 아, 여기다.
Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case. I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts. I agree with you, Toby, that...
아, 분석을 해야 돼?
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope. The fibers from this
깔끔하지
cut
않아.
appear to be different.
나이프.
If I cut the rope with a
칼이네.
knife, it matches the original.
그것도 엄청 날카로워야겠는데? 저렇게 깔끔하려면? 선원 출신, 호출기 끈은 날카로운 칼에 의해 잘려나갔으며 뱃사람들이 즐겨 쓰는 형태로 매듭진 상태였다. 선원 출신의 침입자가 있었던 모양이다. 토비랑 같이 가네.
Search, Toby.
오. 보인다 보여. 냄새가 보인다. 아까 못 들어갔던 곳이네.
The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware.
급박한 상황에서 저걸 들어간다고? 여기도 있다. 걔들은 진짜 이렇게 가는 건가? 뭐야? 동물? 뭐 던졌나 여기다?
The scent leads to the well. I should check it.
오, 담장을 넘어갔네. 넝쿨 잡고 올라가구나.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route.
그러면 일단 우물을 먼저. 수고했어 토비.
There's
뭐가 있다.
something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it? I need a...
갈고리?
If only I had some...
아 여기 안에 있을 수 있어. 오두막. 역시
This hook might be useful. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved. Small gardening tools. Nothing of great interest. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty.
딱히 뭐가 없는데? 특별한 거? 아이.
If only I had...
좋았어. 이게 뭐야?
Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware.
훔쳐가지고 다시 그냥 우물해버려? 신문하게. 안주인한테 얘기해봐야겠네. 돈이 되는 거라 훔쳤나? 아, 이거 정문이었구나.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship?
얘한테?
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed.
인디 딱히 바라는 건 없네. 식당에 가서 그 은식기에다가 맞춰보면 뭐가 있나? 뭐가 또 있었는데?
Lord Ramsay Bracken. The Brackenstall family seems rather austere.
레스트레이드한테 하는구나.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
자, 그 다음에 식당 또 조사야? 뭐지? 여기 뭘까 마침?
A hunter seat.
뭐가 해? 뭘 해야 하나 이제?
A fur trader's cabin. This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
디캔더.
Chateau Calon Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed.
두 명이 있었네.
There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured.
준비되지 않고 그냥 바로 급하게 꺼냈다는 건가?
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing.
영어는 잘 돼 있고. 뭐 더 있어? 아, 세 개구나.
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing.
뭘 탔나?
It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear.
손님이 왔었는지 물어봐야겠구만. 너 왜 거기 있어?
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Your ladyship?
Please leave my Mary alone.